Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? If you are here today, you are probably here for part 2 of the Stetson Bennett interview. This time, we're going to sit down, watch some film. We're going to take a look at that Ohio State football game. I want to, before we get into all that, I want to obviously tell you to like, subscribe, rate, review, do all that good stuff. Show support to the channel. It's the only way we can continue to do great content like this with Stetson. But I also kind of want to take a moment to acknowledge, what it is what's going on right here. We did it over an hour with the two-time national defending champion and, probably the best quarterback in Georgia history in Stetson Bennett. And based off the responses I've received from my colleagues, I think it's obvious that he was not necessarily an easy guy to get an interview with. This is a football player that's not necessarily talked more than like 10 minutes in front of a camera over the last 6 years during his media availability. You got him here for over an hour. And I think what that says about this program is one, you guys, there's something about this place that he wanted to do that here. But I also think it's something about, the content in and of itself. There's a level of respect, I think, between the way we try to do things around here and the way football players receive that. So I hope you guys can feel that. I hope it's palpable in the interview. If you didn't watch the sit-down interview, feel free to check that out over on the page. Today, we're going to be watching the film. So shouts out to you guys for creating this. Shouts out to you guys for building a family big enough to make this an option and make this a place where football players can feel that they can come and allow you to get to know more of the personal side of them. Because we spend 40 minutes with somebody on an interview setting like that. I better be able to show you guys who that human being is. That's my job. So hope you guys learned a little bit more about Stetson Bennett than you had before, and hope you come back for more opportunities like that to get to know some of your favorite football players. For the Film Guy Network, for Brooks Austin, for all that good stuff, for patreon.com/Brooks Austin. Hope you enjoyed this film study, man. This is what we do. This is what the Film Guy Network and everybody here does best. Shut up and grind the tape. Appreciate you guys, for real.
I'm good right now. It's 9:30 for me.
All right. Let's watch like 10, 15 minutes. I got some Ohio State clips. I just want to hear you talking, man. I want to be inside the room for just a second. I do have one last question.
Go for
it. Copenhagen or Grizzly?
Grizzly.
I should have known.
Grizzly.
He's a hardened man. You know what I mean? He's a man's man. He's South Georgia. He's not city slickers on that Copenhagen, right?
I'd say I don't know if I am, hard, but I know the importance of being hard. And so I try to drink my coffee black. I try to dip Grizzly wintergreen. I tried to dip snuff at one point, and I was like, I just can't handle that. So I don't know how hard I am, but I know that sometimes you can trick yourself. You
ever seen the Be a Man series on social media?
It makes me laugh.
Don't take the ski lift. Walk up the mountain. Be a man.
Be a man. Be a man. Yeah, exactly. It's the same kind of thing. Yeah. Be a man.
Don't dip Copenhagen. Dip Grizzly. Be a man.
Be a man. Be a man.
All right. Let's watch some film, dude. I'm curious a little bit of terminology. We call this scatter. You come into the huddle. You say, hey, trips left bunch, scatter 2. Okay, so y'all, when you give a little motion here in a second, you're gonna pick your leg up, and y'all are gonna immediately scatter to a new formation. What's the terminology here? I'm just curious.
We call that explode.
Explode. So are they preset to line up trips left, explode, trips right bunch?
Yeah, well, it's just explode to trump right, and so it's understood starting left. X stays on his side, Z stays on his side. Tight ends are moving. It's just another way to make it look like something different.
Yeah, I always thought that Alabama under Sarkisian was really, really good at this, of like not having to play fast, but making the defense feel like they're playing fast. And late motions like this are a really, really easy way to do it. Let's talk through the concept here. I think we got a straight clear off here. We're going to do a little wheeling up here from Bowers. I can't remember what Darnell does, but we eventually have the Dover here from Adonai. Where are we working here? What's up?
Darnell's probably going to slide back here. I think it's,
you got 6-man, maybe 7-man protects.
Yep, 7-man pro. Little play fake outside zone. Here, it's man. So that safety got deep. Eyes off lad. Yeah, I go to Brock. But I knew it's man to man, so I knew AD's 1-on-1, and that crossing route's just a better man beater than Bill route.
Yeah, because he's going to run to leverage, right?
Yep, run it. Yep.
I've always, as you got older, and it's the 10,000 hour theory, man. Like, your base didn't have to be as perfect as it always had to be when you were much younger, right? I mean, your foot's way off the midline here because you've been floating left.
Right. But you know how to, I know, like, I can feel, because this is this much off the, we'll call it midline. I don't think of it as midline, but this is this much. This has to be this much off this way to get it. You feel the space. You feel how your body is moving at the moment, and
that ball's on a line. Let's go here. 428 is our next play. Judging by your hands here, you're calling this. This is I call this a Bubba fade, a little slot fade here from Don Blaylock, who almost like towards the end of his career with you guys or with you seemed to be about the only route y'all really threw him was back shoulder fades out of the slot. What are you seeing here? Obviously, you're seeing middle field safety and all this green grass because you're about to check to it, aren't you?
Yeah. So we had the routes that they run over here on the left are what they're running on the right until I change it. And I changed it because gave him inside fade. Just because, I mean, he's so pressed. He was low, and it's a safety. And I know what Dom looks like when he's running. I know how he runs his route. And he's got awesome ball skills. He's usually not going to beat anybody over the top, but when it comes to back shoulders, going up and getting the ball, he's really good at it.
Well, KYP, know your personnel. I mean, that's the first thing they teach young quarterbacks, isn't it?
Yep.
I thought back shoulder balls out of the slot were something you improved upon. I thought in 2020, and Stet, you can correct me on this if I'm wrong. I thought in 2020, y'all almost tried to throw that slot fade more vertically. Y'all didn't even back shoulder it. You tried to get back on top. Like 2020 against Alabama, there was a lot of slot fades in the game plan, it seemed like. But as your career kind of, progressed and as you and Monkey got more comfortable, looked like y'all were doing a lot more back shoulder stuff with more physical type receivers in the slot. Is that accurate?
Yeah, but I'd say, it's less purposeful than that. We learned how to throw them to where they could be completions versus like inside go balls, and it wasn't, something that we would go over in the offensive film room, offensive, study, talking about this is how we're going to throw inside fades now. Like, we just developed into that over time, and I started to see it better, and I started to know to, I try to take things up from, other, paths of life that, I think might be able to help me. And there's this thing that Arnold Palmer said about golf. And he's like, I don't hit it everywhere I'm supposed to hit each time, but I know where to miss. And so, yeah, you start to throw it. There's one against Mississippi State where, like, I could have thrown it a lad over the top for a touchdown, but I knew where we were going to get a completion. I knew where to put it to where, we're on the one, instead of having, say like a 50% chance to score a touchdown. Well, we got like a 90% chance to get to the one.
Yeah. Speaking about morphing into kind of figuring out where the completions were, you guys morphed into a counter and waggle football team, right? Running a lot of counter and running play action waggle off of it. I guess just talk about, your advantage of going to the NFL. Dude, you got really, really cheeky with these ball fakes and dekes. Like starting in the Oregon game, I felt like you really started to get creative with how we were handling ball fakes and how you were handling turning your back to the defense. Do you feel like this right here, this image gives you an advantage? I asked you about this in Pro Day, but I don't think we got to really talk about it. This shit is hard, man. Turning your back to the defense, getting a pre-snap look, and then finding out a post-snap look after 2 seconds of play development. How long was it before you were comfortable with this?
So, like, I was, it's the further I go with this thing, it's like, so the goal is to just get back to where you were your senior year of high school, right? Like, that's like the comfort, feeling like a stud, feeling like, trying things, like feeling comfortable in the base rules, what you're supposed to do, to where you can put your little pizzazz on like everything else, right? And so like I would do these fakes and I would do, try to hide the ball because, if you break it down, like it's the ball that matters. The defense the ball. And so if they don't know where the ball is, then like, well, they don't really know what to do. And so, and then I saw Rogers doing this with one of his, and I just try to put on my hip, flow there. I try to put, I didn't hear, but sometimes I tried to put my eyes on the back to just make it like it gave it a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, we got so many motions, pullers.
You know who's great at ball fakes like this? I know you're a big Rogers guy. Study Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan does some really, really cheeky stuff with the football on play actions. Because I mean, think about the systems he was playing in. Like his back was always to the defense and always running play action stuff. You got really, I loved the way you attacked coming downhill on these routes, man. It can be real, real easy to keep floating and floating and floating and just end up, duffing that ball into the dirt at this guy's feet. Talk about these mechanics of working back downhill on all these waggle routes you've been throwing for years.
Yeah. Well, here, I'm thinking I see Darnell.
That's a no-go off rip.
Right. No go. And then I see, I know Brock's coming over. But I also know that I'm part of this play. And so I gotta get going. I see green grass. And so I'm attacking it to run. And then I see Brock. And then I throw it to him. But it makes those guys make a decision. And, at the same time, it gives you the opportunity to run, because if you're not running, then like you can't run.
Now this is, I want to take I want to give the audience, I know you're going to be able to do this because you've been watching years and years and decades worth of football at this point, but I want everyone to kind of take a mental picture of this motion, this play action, and kind of the look from the defense, how far this defender is, where this linebacker is, because I'm about to show you here in a second what Ohio State's game plan was in this football game, and it creates a turnover here in a second, Stetson, and I'm curious what your thought process was of it. But you guys are such a waggle-heavy football team, right? Y'all do run so much play-action pass where the quarterback is turning his back this way and then rolling this way, right? So what Ohio State started to do was they started firing this front side inside linebacker, Stetson. So as soon as you come out of your ball fake, I mean, he's right in your grill, okay? Mm-hmm. At what point, because I know we're going to talk about here in a second, Monken really takes advantage of this in a second, but is this something y'all were unaccustomed to? Like, no, I don't think anybody had been firing like automatically. I think Alabama did it to you a couple times in years past, but when you see this look, man, like you didn't look comfortable right here. It's not something you expected, was it?
No, I came out and then saw him. I didn't know he was coming on this one, and he got above truss, and then I step up, and I think Kenny's setting his angle there. And so I throw it on that one, and then he buoys out to the left again. So that's what happened there. But yeah,
I always love talking to you guys that play different. I was a center in college, not that you care, but I was like listening to y'all's terminology. Set the angle. So you're throwing the ball right now off the angle that he is currently on. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
But this is the next question I have for you. Maybe you can give me some insight and we'll leave it at here. Hold on. All right, 11:26. Here's the beater. I believe it is. Oh no, this is the cover 2 beater. We're gonna get back, or the Tampa 2 beater. We're gonna get back to the run beater here in a second. When you're playing for a guy like Munkenstedt, you guys got these in the playbook on Tuesdays, don't you? That are pretty much winners. This is the throw to the throw to Arian right here, where y'all catch this little linebacker trying to turn and run in the middle of the field with Arian. I know Alabama got him on this in the national title game a couple years ago. When you're playing for a coordinator like Monken, do you know that there's winners when you walk up to the line of scrimmage?
Well, I'd say, I mean, sometimes, but it doesn't. Like Monk may know that why he puts in something like that, but I don't really think of it that way. I'm trying to, I know this play in and out, and I know that whenever this backside safety over here is kind of hanging on Brock, and he's a little bit lower, and they go to split safeties, and then I know we got Arian running right down the middle, and so. If they would have came out in some cover 3 look or cover 1 look, then it would have played out differently. But as soon as that boundary safety didn't turn around and sprint, I was pretty much just biding time until Arian could set his landmark.
Yeah, it's a middle of field closed, middle of field open read, right? That's the first thing you're checking when you walk into the line of scrimmage. Like, is the middle of the field open? Is it closed?
Yeah, and then but more so it's man zone.
Okay.
Just and not straight up cover 1, but are they playing like quarters match, or are people going to be running with people, or they're going to people sloughing off in the holes that you got to work to. But
all
yeah,
right, so I told the audience to take a mental picture. Let's see if they passed the test. So this was the counter, right? This is what I think is so good about coordinating. And again, my question to you is, will this remain with Monken gone? You're going to become a fan on Saturdays like the people that are watching this. So you're probably curious to this as well. Like, y'all had gotten it. Y'all are getting this same kind of waggle look. Like, they're trying to send this front side linebacker this way. Okay. But he's also going to drag the backside corner with the Bowers motion. And then he's just going to run slam right into the short side here. And it's a damn touchdown if Kenny doesn't fall. But this ability to just design up winners, is this the staff as a whole, or is this something Monken put in at like midway through the game? Because this is obviously a response to them doing what they were doing, correct?
Yeah, well, I'd say it's because we've had this play, like we ran this play a lot. So I'd say it's when you're really good, you don't it's less about designing the play for the situation and knowing what play is right for the situation. Like what you have. Right. And so you don't have to come up with something else. And that's why you work so hard in the off season. And working up to it. And why our practices are so hard. Because we have a really big playbook and we're expected to know it. And, that's what we did. We knew it. And then it kind of freed up the OC, right? Because then he could know what pieces to plug in where, right? And he didn't have to think about those so-and-so know this play, or can we execute this play? Can we do this or that? And so, once it's your offense, like there's a level of understanding, like sometimes I'd look at a formation, or I'd see this formation being signaled in, and then I'd look at like the first word that they signal in for the play, and then I knew the play. Like, I knew what we were running, because we can't run something else, because this is the play, and then everything else that comes with that. And that's even more so with Monk, because like it's his offense. It's he's built it up over the years, building off other people's offenses, but at the end of the day, like, he these things for a reason, and it's almost like a philosophy of sort of what he thinks wins football games, as plays, and that's what's so cool about it.
I think it's also cool that you guys beat the shit out of teams so bad that like y'all could hold things in the playbook, because this right here, this little quarterback keeper out the back, is basically a quarterback truck sweep.
Yeah.
How long was it in the playbook, dude? It had to have been in the playbook forever.
Well, no, this one is actually not in the playbook forever. We put it in, I guess, in fall camp, but hadn't really ran it until this game. And then we ran it again against TCU. But I mean, it's just such a tough play to stop because of numbers. When the quarterback can run, that's an extra hat, that's an extra runner, and so
it's basically you versus this front side safety to the pylon, and he's going to have to fight through a shitload of trash.
You're right, and I mean, if you look at Broad right here, he takes two guys out. I mean, he's so good.
Boom, boom. All right, brother. I'm good. I've had so much fun, dude. I appreciate you doing this, man. I know that you're not only a busy man, but I don't think you've done this anywhere else. I know that's been a long 5-6 years with how you were not only covered, but just the ups and downs, man. So good luck. Where you go next is to be determined. But I thought one thing I've admired about you is your truthfulness about just the love for the sport of football. I've always said, like I said earlier, I think there are people who love what football brings to them, and they just so happen to be good at it. But I think there are people who are fascinated with the game of football. And I also find that you are fascinated with just the pure throwing of a football. There is something that seems majestic to you about throwing the football, something that feels connected with whatever it is. Am I correct on that assumption with you?
You go back and I mean, you think about, well, first of all, like, so blessed, and I'd say that, yes, there are people that, are in love with the idea of what football brings them. But I'd say most of them don't know what that is. Like, most of them, like, and so that's why, like, I'm so blessed and so lucky to, like, win, especially the first one. But then this next one, because, like, it allowed me to see it for what it was. Because I remember after the first one, I was like, golly, I thought my life was going to change. So, I thought everything was going to be, here I am, I'm sitting in math class on a Tuesday. And I was like, well, I guess it's not changing. And then I just got to look back. I was like, oh, okay, so I really do just love football, right? And, I mean, cool. And, yeah, I've always had, I play football on Saturdays and now on Sundays. But, during the week, I play football. Like, those dudes are the ones out there hitting. Like, I just catch a ball and do a 3-step drop and throw it, right? But it's almost like, how people are like, I love, or I don't know if you play basketball, but, it is like the most fun sport to practice, right? Because you're shooting, you see, like, you're aiming for targets. And that's what playing quarterback is, like, trying to be perfect throwing a pass. And there's something just purely fun about it. And then just trying to get it to where it can be the best that it can be every time, and that's kind of the goal. But it's cool. Like, I mean, it's cool. It's fun to, like, improve at it. And, it's, it's at the bare minimum. I mean, it's just like whenever you're 9 and 10 and throwing a ball, for a championship. I mean, it's still just that, right? And so I think it's pretty cool. Just fun.
Absolutely, brother. Well, I appreciate you, man. I'm gonna let you go. All right.
Appreciate it.